Pregame.com.
Saturday college football, Navy at Notre Dame. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined with Brian Leonard. Brian, Navy at Notre Dame. Notre Dame, bad game for them last week against Southern Cal. What do you make? Did they bounce back here? Who do you like?
Yeah, I had Navy last week, and that was my best player of the week, and I lost. But the thing is, when you gamble, the next weekend you can get your money back, and I think this is where we do it. We found out a lot about Navy last week. In fact, the last 3 times they played any team with any semblance of an offense, they've given up 38, 63, and 35, and they made the Eastern Carolina quarterback a name for him off of last week's performance. 40 for 45, I think 26 straight completions. Nobody ever heard of this guy, and now he's on national news because he went up against this Navy defense. The pass defense has been horrendous all season long. I mentioned the 40 for 45 last week. And then when you look over the schedule that Navy has played, this is by far the best offense they have faced. So you're giving up 35, 38, and 63 to lesser offenses. Southern Miss has not put in very consistent efforts all year, and they put up 63 against this Navy defense. I'm really concerned about Navy in this game. Now that Notre Dame's coming off that bad loss last week, and they know they're going to be able to put some points on the board against Navy. I really like Notre Dame in this spot.
Anytime you lay this kind of number, the question you always ask yourself is, backdoor possibilities. Concern yourself with Navy. The benefit that you have is that obviously handicapping this game, and as bad as this Navy defense is, and I agree with you, another team that torched them passing earlier in the year was Southern Miss. They rolled this team, put up 63 points on them. When you're a running team and you fall behind like this, they're not built
right
to go down the field quickly and have those backdoor games. So to your benefit, that's a plus in handicapping a game like this. And everybody's different in their handicapping styles, but that's something that when I look at big favorites, I don't like laying big favorites, but if I'm going to do it, that's a factor I have to have, right. And you most definitely have it in this game. This Notre Dame team, just, last week's game, again, the beginning of the season, we know what was the problem. Those first 2 games, they turned the ball over. Well, the first 3 games, 13 times. And then they got the ship righted, and, they went a stretch where they had 3 games where they had 2 turnovers. Then last week, it reared its ugly head again, 3 turnovers against Southern Cal. Is it a discipline problem? What is it with this team? And you would think they came off of the Southern Cal game. They had 2 weeks to prepare for Southern Cal. You would think this team would be sharp, focused, crisp, and that was really their worst game of the year.
Yeah, when you're looking at turnovers, you have to look at who they played and the strengths of that team. USC is a very good defensive team. They've been a very good defensive team for years. They won't run into that this week. And you talked about the backdoor covers and that kind of thing. And one thing you take a look at, Kelly got a lot of flack last week. The USC players were saying his team was quitting. Mm-hmm. Now, if he gets the lead in this game, he's going to keep putting on the points just to prove that his team hasn't quit. And, you take a look at the Irish the next 3 weeks. They play Wake Forest, Maryland, and Boston College. So there's really nobody to look past here. Mm-hmm. And the last 2 years, they've lost straight up to Navy. So it's a situation here where they're in major revenge, a superior team off a terrible performance, and they know they could pass on this Navy team. So I would if there's props out there on completions and for all this for the Irish, I would play all those over because I really think they're going to go out and really, we see this all the time with New England and Belichick. Yeah. He goes after the weaknesses of the opposition. And when you're passing and you're throwing these long passes, you're not going to take a lot of time off the clock, which means the points in this game won't be quite as much you would worry about normally when you're playing a Navy team who grinds the ball down, taking time off the clock from the running game.
I'm going to throw something at you, a little, theory analysis. Every week there's a winner and loser point spread. Mm-hmm. That's obvious. But in college football, whether it wants to be said or not said, coaches know what the point spread is, and they know when they covered and they didn't cover. When a coach doesn't cover a game and it's a high-profile game where the the boosters are betting. Right. Southern Cal, Notre Dame, that's a rivalry game every year. That's a bad game to lose as a coach, because you know the alumni. They get more upset losing those games. I mean, you're an Ohio guy. I think back to John Cooper at Ohio
Right.
State. There's a guy that was one of the best college football coaches. He's got one of the best win records in all of college football, but he couldn't beat Michigan. They ran him out. They ran him out of the state.
Yeah.
Just because of that one game. So do you think that, a coach knows and feels heat and stuff that when he loses a game in one of those rivalry games, that gives the coach more motivation to drill this team the next week and try to get the boosters happy in a hurry?
Yeah, it definitely helps. And if you've got boosters that are against you and you are on the hot seat, by not covering the spread, it gives them more reason to get you out of there. Because as much as anybody wants to say, those boosters and the fans are betting a lot of money on these games. So, it's a situation that he, as great a coach as he has been at his last two stops, he has not done well here. In fact, there was a spot on ESPN that said over the last, the time he's been at Notre Dame, he has lost more games as a favorite, more games straight up as a favorite than any other coach in college football. So that being out there gives him more ammunition to, hey, when we got him down, let's continue to pound them.
Well, there you go. Brian says to take Navy play. You have a projected score? Or?
I'm not taking Navy, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry, Notre Dame. I'm sorry. Notre Dame laying the points.
Don't want to confuse anybody.
Yeah.
Don't have a projected score, but the Lions 20. I'll be very happy having them win by 21. But, I think they're going to win this game by 30. It's a situation they're just going to continue to put on the points, and I kind of like the over because of that.
All right, there you go. We're going to be back next. We're going to look at Missouri at Texas A&M, another game where I think defense is going to take the day off in that one. We'll be right back.